Hello, and welcome to Getting Done with Donne. With me, Isaac. First of all, you need a notepad for the squiggles. Squiggle, squiggle. Secondly, you need your John Donne book. Have you got your John Donne book? I shall go grab mine. If you'd like to turn your pages to 30 to read The Flea by John Donne. I shall now read the first line. Mark but this flea, and mark in this. So the word mark has two connotations. One, observe, and the other, maybe the mark that the flea leaves on you. So it's a pun. He then says, and mark in this. So he's saying, observe very carefully how little that which thou deniest me is. So he talks of something that maybe a woman is denying him, and how little it is in comparison with a flea, which is also a very little and insignificant creature. So he's saying, look at the flea, my request is very little, and you still denies me is. He then says, it suck me first, and now sucks thee. And in this flea our two bloods mingled be. Now, this is very interesting. It sucked me first, and now sucks thee could be seen as innuendo to some people. But what is really talking about here is when two people in these times would have sex, often they would say that the bloods be mingled, and the bloods will be mingled together. So when he says, it sucked me first, and now sucks thee, and in this flea are two bloods mingled be, he's saying, maybe now we see that it is a sexual request, and he's saying that our bloods are already mingled in this flea, so it's fine to have intercourse. Now he says, thou knowest that this cannot be a sin, nor shame, nor loss of maidenhead. Now in this, he's saying that because of this flea and our blood's already being mingled, now if we have sex, it's no sin, nor shame, and it's not a loss of virginity. Then he goes on, yet this enjoys before it woo, and pampers swells with one blood made of two, and this, alas, is more than we would do. So he's saying that this flea has already taken our blood and is doing more than we would do together, because he is mixing our blood. So he is saying this flea, this small, insignificant creature, is doing more than what we are doing together. So that is the end of stanza 1, and stanza 1 contains the topic of the argument. The flea, he describes what his argument is, and which is that the small insignificance of the flea is just as trivial as his request to have sex. And so he is saying that that he should not be dishonored for this trivial request because it is so insignificant. We will move on to stanza 2 next. In the stanza 2, it starts again like stanza 1 with an imperative. In stanza 1, this imperative was mark. Now in stanza 2, it is oh stay. Now again, this is very overly theatrical in expression. Oh stay. When he is talking about a mere flea, a little insect that is very insignificant. Okay, so let's read stanza 2. Oh stay, 3 lives in 1 flea, where we almost, yea more than married are. Now this is very interesting. Here he uses religious words and imagery. So 3 lives. He talks about how the flea now contains the flea's life, his life, and the woman's life. Now, the flea is, it also could represent the Holy Trinity. So this is where it sort of alludes to that. So this is where this imagery comes from. And now he said, where we almost, yea, more than married are. Now this is very cheeky of him, really, because the caesura leads the suspense where we almost, yea, more than married are. So he's saying that because our blood is united in this flea, it almost represents our union inside this little creature. This flea is you and I, and this our marriage bed and marriage temple is. So the flea is becoming a holy thing, a temple for their love. The flea's body is blessed with their love, which is very interesting because their bloods are united. Though parents grudge, and you, we are met and cloistered in these living walls of jet. Now this is very interesting because it alludes to a different thing. You see, it more talks about the parents' disapproval is too late because we're met, and so our bloods are interlinked. Yes, see, even though everyone has their reservations about this, it's too late because the symbolic act of marriage has already taken place inside this flea. And then he goes on to say, though use make you apt to kill me, let not to that self-murder added be, and sacrilege, 3 sins in killing 3. So he is saying that if she kills the flea, she kills 3 people, including herself. And it's suicide because she, she's killing herself inside the flea. And it's sacrilege because, according to the speaker, Donne, they are married inside the flea. That is the end of stanza 2. We will next continue to stanza 3. Oh no! Stanza 3 is very turn. You'll see, he says, "Cruel and sudden hast thou since purpled thy nail in blood of innocence." It seems to me that the flea is now dead. The woman may have killed it, you see, because it is a cruel and sudden act that thou since she just did. Now, purple thy nail, her nail is purple with the flea's blood. Purple is often a word that is used to describe mourning. In the purple is the color of mourning. Now, the blood of innocence could suggest or allude to maybe the death of Jesus Christ as he is nailed to the cross, because he is the only innocent being in the world. Now, again, the flea is a very holy thing. How could the flea be guilty of anything except taking one drop of her blood? When he says, "Wherein could this flea guilty be, except in that drop which it sucked from thee?" Now, sucked is maybe religious imagery again of, or some sort of symbolism of a snake, some would say, but it is very interesting in the second line, the sort of oxymoron of the trivial purpled nail with the blood, and then the blood of innocence, the death of Jesus Christ, which is very interesting. Now we go on to the second part of this stanza, and we see, "Yet thou triumphs, and say'st thou thee, finds not thyself, nor me, the weaker now. 'Tis true, then, learn how false fears be, just so much honour, when thou yield'st to me, will waste, as this flea's death took life from thee." Now, he then goes on to prove that her previous fears are unfolded through the killing of a part of herself in the flea. The part that she lost is equal to the honor lost in yielding to him, which previously turned out to be nothing. Therefore, just as she felt no less powerful after killing the flea, she will feel no less of a maiden after having sex with him. False fears in this bit is alliteration to highlight that her fears were false and they were wrong, and because it's so trivial. And where is used to me is almost a pun, because often you yield both in bed and in the argument, so it's very clever. But again, the whole argument has been to prove that him having sex with that her wouldn't be such a dishonest and sinful act. And the woman believes she is triumphant over the flea, and therefore over with his argument, but he is saying, no, you feel no less powerful after killing the flea, and you will feel no less of a maiden or a woman without having after having sex with him. Now, the structure of the poem, the rigid and ordered structure, reflects the confidence of the speaker in this argument. As in common with metaphysical poets, the form structure is seen in conjunction with often less formal structure of the poet's argument. The speaker in this poem is confident. He exploits religious in religious imagery in an attempt to appear honorable and to mask his more sinful motives. The rhyme scheme in this poem is AA, BB, CC, DDD. This is a new rhyme, but it's also because it links to a new idea and arguments. Lines alternate between iambic tetrameter and iambic pentameter. Thank you very much for watching my analysis of Flea by Donne. Hopefully you will do very well in your exam.